Welcome. My name's Saul. A very long time ago, in an age of kings and queens, laws and gods, there was a very prosperous kingdom, a kingdom so numbered as the stars of heaven. And the people of this kingdom had as swords and shields the God that called himself the Great I Am, the God of Israel.
Although God had given his people their own land, they turned away from God. And they thought that if they were like the other nations and were guided by a king they could see. Instead of being guided by God, they would conquer their enemies.
Foolish people, and so was fulfilled what is written in Deuteronomy 17:40-20. The Lord heard the cry of his people, and I, Saul, was anointed king of all Israel by prophet Samuel.
However, I let myself be carried by the power and rejected the instructions of the living God. For that, the Lord regretted of having made me the king of Israel. I died in the battle of Gilboa, killed by an Amalekite after begging for him to kill me while I was hanging on my spear.
Pleasure to meet you. My name is Davi, and my reign starts right after King Saul's death. I was anointed king over Judah, but my story doesn't start here. We need to go back so we can understand better.
Still during the reign of King Saul, when he was rejected by God, Prophet Samuel came into Bethlehem, in the house of Jesse, my father, and I was anointed king of Israel. Me, the youngest of 8 brothers. In that moment, the Spirit of the Lord withdrew from Saul and came upon me. And the Lord sent an evil spirit to torment King Saul.
At this time, I was called to play the harp to the king. Every time that the evil spirit tormented him, I would play my harp and he would feel better.
On a certain day, the people of the Lord were at war against the Philistines. When an uncircumcised Philistine, a little boy, 2.5 meters, defied the army of the Lord. I didn't think twice. He came against me with the sword, but I went in the name of the gods. With just one stone, I took him down.
After that, I got married to Michal, daughter of Saul, and her brother Jonathan was my best friend. Since the king had decided to take my life, I fled to the desert with my soldiers. And twice I spared his life. After all, he was the anointed of the Lord. After the death of the king and of his son, I went back to Judah as king and ruled over all Israel.
I have sinned against the Lord many times, but I always loved him with all my heart. I repent and he had mercy of me.
The prophet Samuel talked about me as a man according to the heart of God. And Lord promised that my descendants would keep it seated on the throne.
Because of my sin, I did not have the honor to build the temple of the Lord. And my sons, they turned against me. And I lived 40 years. And I died and was buried in the city of David, my city.
After the death of my father, King David, and despite of the attempts of my brother to steal the throne, I, Solomon, assumed the throne of the kingdom of Israel. And the kingdom was prosperous.
I became known by my wisdom, and during my reign, the great temple in Jerusalem was finally built.
Nevertheless, I went astray from the path of God, because I built temples to foreign gods.
For that the Lord divided the kingdom of Israel, leaving for the seed of David only one tribe. I ruled for 40 years, died, and was buried in the city of David.